right, so today I have the pleasure of reviewing this beautiful microphone, the Earthworks ETHOS. Earthworks ETHOS. Anyway, as I always say, I've really been wanting to review this microphone. I've heard about Earthworks for a little while now, and I've been really interested in their company and their microphone, so I've really been wanting to test this out. I've had some viewers in the comments ask me, hey, what about the Earthworks ETHOS? And I have never used it. I've never tested it. And now I get to. So now I can actually answer those questions when you're asking me, well, what do you think about this mic? So here we have it. And as always, full disclosure, Earthworks did send this microphone to me for free to review, but as always, that doesn't sway my review in any way, shape, or form. They do not get to see this video before I post it. They don't get to tell me what to say. None of that stuff. And by the way, you know who the truly good brands in the industry are because they don't ask you to say, anything specific about the microphone or to not say anything bad about the microphone or to not say specific things about the microphone. They literally just tell you, just give your honest opinion, give your honest feedback in the review, and we'll be good. That's how you know who the good brands are. Those are the only brands that I work with, by the way, brands that I trust, brands that I use, and then of course brands that don't require you to say specific things about the mic unless it makes sense. If they're like, hey, make sure you mention these things that the mic offers people and they're really awesome things, then absolutely, I understand that. But if brands are like, and I've had this happen and I just don't work with these people, but if brands are like, hey, don't say this about the microphone because we don't want people, and they don't say because we don't want people knowing about it, but you know why they're saying don't say it. Basically don't say anything bad about the microphone, which to me is like, well, why even review the microphone? That just completely kills the review if you're not allowed to say bad things about it, and it shows that you're not a trustworthy brand. You're just trying to make money and fool people. So anyway, I only work with brands that aren't like that. So you can know that about every single mic review you see of mine. You can trust the brand, or at least I think you can trust the brand, and that's why I'm reviewing the microphone. So anyway, with all of that said, let's get into it. All right, let's cover some specs of the Earthworks ETHOS. It has a frequency response of 20 Hz to 30 kHz. It's an XLR microphone. It has a supercardioid polar pattern. It takes 24 to 48 volts phantom power. It has a self noise of 16 dB SPL-A weighted. It has an SPL of 145 dB. Its build quality is incredibly durable. It is made of stainless steel. When you hold this thing, you can absolutely feel the quality of this microphone. It has quite a bit of weight to it. And some people might be like, oh, I don't want it to weigh that much. It doesn't weigh that much, but you can just feel when you hold this microphone that it is built very well and it is very durable. So that's good. Now, I want to read a couple of things straight from Earthworks that you can probably find on their site. They sent this over to me, and I thought it was very interesting. So let me read a couple of these things, and we're going to dive a little deeper into them as we go throughout the video. How did you tune and optimize ETHOS? ETHOS has a few special areas of focus worth noting for the applications mentioned. We already talked about the importance of speed and the ways in which it meets the needs and desires of artists, engineers, and audiences alike. So let's take a quick moment to talk about the sonic character. While the overall frequency response is incredibly flat, we've given ETHOS a very gentle boost in the low end for some subtle warmth and gravity. With better phase linearity and lightning fast impulse response, mids will feel well supported and natural, while highs feel open and airy. The result is the feeling of an in-person intimate conversation where the entire signal chain, including the microphone, have disappeared. Now, one thing I can say as we go throughout this video that you will find is, a lot of people might be like, oh, this microphone's really dark, or some might even say like they do with the SM7B, it's kind of muffled sounding, but here's the thing. This microphone does an incredibly great job at not enhancing really harsh frequencies and things that will hurt to listen to when on certain microphones. Not to bash a microphone, because I'm not. It's made for a very specific reason and a specific thing, but the Sennheiser 416 can get really harsh to listen to over long periods of time. I would even argue shorter periods of time, because it enhances things in the voice that are things I wouldn't want to enhance, but it has its time and place for sure. So I just wanted to make that note. Why did you create ETHOS? ETHOS is designed to compete sonically with the best vocal microphones in the world at a price point that is accessible for professional broadcast. On its own, this would be a big deal, but what really makes ETHOS so special is all about the use case. This is a microphone that you can put in front of any voice and it's going to sound incredible. Now, that right there, I just want to make a note. That's probably true if you look at it a certain way. I know a lot of people out there, like I just said, are probably going to look at this like, well, I don't like it because it's too muffled sounding or dark sounding or whatever, but that's the sonic characteristic of this microphone. It's one of the reasons that this microphone is so easy to listen to for especially long periods of time. You know I love that. If you watch this channel, I love darker, warmer sounding microphones. So I love it. I know not everyone out there is going to, but I think they do a really good job. This is a game changer because most of the content being created today is on a demanding schedule and without the luxury of large support teams or special training for gear or technique. This is why we say ethos is the sound of relaxed confidence. I have to say, I pretty much agree with them on that because it really doesn't take much post-processing. I mean, if you're one of those people that's like, oh, I don't like that dark, warm sound, it sounds muffled or whatever, then sure, you might, you're going to want to do some post-processing. But for the majority of people, I mean, every time I hear anybody using this microphone on any of the channels that I watch on YouTube, I never have an issue. I never have an issue. And most of the time, maybe not most of the time, but I think in a lot of cases, those people probably aren't doing any kind of processing because maybe they just don't want to waste the time. A lot of channels are moving quickly and they just need to get information out. They don't have time to do a ton of post-processing. This mic is great for that because, like I said, you don't have to worry about harsh frequencies or any kind of crazy resonant frequencies or anything that's going to really jump out at you in a negative way. So I really do like that about this microphone. We have engineered a solution that right out of the box is free from all of the challenges that are so common in these spaces. Plosives, wind noise, unpleasant sibilants, odd resonances, small sweet spots, excessive proximity effect, and handling noise, to name a few. Again, I go back to what I just said. This microphone really is great for just, they always say plug and play in the industry, right? Well, this microphone is pretty much a plug and play mic. Plug it in, hit record, go. And realistically, you don't need to do much of anything, if anything at all, on the post-processing end, and you're not going to run into any kind of major issues or you're not going to run into people saying like, oh man, I could really tell that audio needed some work or anything. Your space not being treated, that's always going to be an issue with any microphone that you use. Microphones like this microphone or the SM7B or the DYNACASTER from SE Electronics, those microphones were made to actually perform better in spaces that aren't as treated as maybe you would like them to be. But still, acoustically treating a space makes up 70 to 80% of your audio quality up front. A lot of people think they have to spend a ton of money on a microphone to get good sounding audio. That's not the case. You need to spend a ton of money on acoustically treating your space, and then the microphone is going to sound much, much better for it. But I will say microphones like this, and the SM7B and the DYNACASTER and microphones like that, they perform better in spaces that aren't as well treated as they should be just because of the way the microphone is made. So you can kind of get away with not treating your space the way you should if you're using a microphone like this. Now, trust me, I'm not saying don't treat your space. I'm not saying that. But they perform better in spaces that are not as forgiving. All right, now let's get to some tests. How does this microphone handle plosives? Well, as you can see, it's got this nifty foam shield that I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the foam screens, but again, to keep this fair, I'm going to keep it on because this is the way the microphone is advertised. The SM7B has it on there, and just like with the SM7B, you can take it off, and you can see how this microphone looks. I don't know if the audio quality is going to change. It might. It probably will a little bit, but it's probably going to be like you need to be wearing headphones and really have trained ears to hear it. I'll hear when I'm editing this video how much that changed. But, it does have some layers right here in front of the capsule anyway. So, like, it's already helping with the pop. So I'm going to slide this back on and we're going to do the plosive test. Like a glove. Anyway, here we go. Let's see how well it handles the plosives. Peter Piper popped his peas, resulting in plosives. All right, now let's test the proximity effect of the Earthworks ETHOS. All right, now I'm about 8 to 10 feet away from the Earthworks ETHOS. All right, now I'm around 6-ish feet away from the Earthworks ETHOS. All right, and now I'm around 3 feet-ish away from the Earthworks ETHOS. All right, and now I'm about 6 inches away from the Earthworks ETHOS. All right, and I am now right up on the Earthworks ETHOS. I'm very curious to see how the bass response handled those different distances. Was there a big difference? Could you really, really tell the closer I got? Was there like an amplified bass response? We're going to find out together when I'm editing this. All right, and as always, this is how the Earthworks ETHOS sounds boomed above me and out of frame. This microphone was most definitely not made to be boomed like a shotgun microphone was, for example, but just so you can hear how that sounds, this is what it sounds like boomed. Oh man, this is gonna suck. Why do I always insist on screwing the microphone in as far as I can? Because then I have to sit here and do this for like a solid minute. And it's the best part of the video. I know my viewers are only watching my videos for this one part. You can see it in the analytics. You know, people are like dropping off like freaking flies left and right. And then when I get to this part of the video, it's just giant, you know, mountain of people watching just to see me unscrew a microphone. It's crazy. All right, now the Earthworks ETHOS says that, you know, and I mean, just by feeling the microphone, it seems like they're probably right. There's not very much microphone handling noise just based on the build quality of the microphone. So let's see how that works. You can go watch all my other videos and see how the handling noise is in this test. But this has a supercardioid polar pattern, so let's see how that works in the polar pattern test. So here we go. All right, I am speaking into the front of the Earthworks ETHOS, and now I'm taking it to the side of the Earthworks ETHOS. I wonder how that sounds. Probably great. Now let's get to the back of the Earthworks ETHOS and see how that sounds. That probably sounds even better. This is probably the most clarity you're going to get out of this microphone. Then you can go to the next side of the Earthworks ETHOS, and then now back to the front of the Earthworks ETHOS where the audio is probably at its worst. Just a joke. All right, so this is what the Earthworks ETHOS sounds like in a completely untreated environment. I really like to put microphones through their paces and kind of put them in extreme situations so you can really hear how it sounds in those extreme situations. And one thing I do have to note is I only said this in one video, but I guess I need to say it in every single video now. I'm really not that far away from the microphone. I have the angle or the lens in its widest angle, and so it gives you that distorted look like I'm far away from the mic. But if I'm right up on the microphone, I'm eating it like this, and I just back up a little bit, this is pretty much where I'm at. I'm not that far from the mic. I'm literally a fist away from the microphone. So I'm not that far away from the microphone. It's just the way the lens makes it look. So I felt like I needed to go ahead and say that. I'll probably say it in every video now, but this is what it sounds like in an untreated space. Obviously, you wouldn't record in a space like this, but let's go see what this mic sounds like in a completely acoustically treated space. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and do my clap test to show you the difference between an untreated space and a treated space. So here we go. All right, so this is what the Earthworks ETHOS sounds like in an acoustically treated environment. I've got many various acoustic treatment methods in this space to make it sound as dead as it does, but this is what the ETHOS Earthworks sounds like in an acoustically treated space. All right, now a little bit of camera audio just to cleanse the palate before we get to the Earthworks ETHOS versus the Shure SM7B. Let me know in the comments below if you were able to tell which microphone was which. Here we go. All right, so here we have the Earthworks ETHOS versus the Shure SM7B. I absolutely love both microphones for different reasons because they do sound a little bit different. Let me know in the comments below, as always, if you can tell which microphone is which in this blind A/B test before I reveal which is which in the actual video. But I know, just to give you a little bit of a hint here, the Earthworks ETHOS is actually a little bit warmer or a little bit darker sounding than the Shure SM7B, which is insane because there's only so far in my reviews and all the mics I've reviewed, there's only been one microphone that's been actually a little bit darker than the Shure SM7B, and that was the Audix PDX720, I believe, was the name of that microphone. I love that microphone as well. But anyway, the ETHOS is just on the warmer or darker side. And as they stated, and as I stated earlier in the video, it does an amazing job at not enhancing really harsh sounding frequencies or anything like that. Yeah, with all of that said, let me know in the comments below if you could distinguish between the Shure SM7B and the Earthworks ETHOS. And let me know in the comments below also which one you preferred and why. All right, so here we have the Earthworks ETHOS and the SE Electronics DYNACASTER. I haven't heard what these sound like back to back yet, so I'm going to be hearing the differences just the same way you guys are when I'm editing the video or when I'm watching the video once I edit it. So I actually don't know how much these microphones differ right now as I'm talking. So yeah, let's see what's going on. Now I have the SE Electronics in its flat response mode, so I don't have a high boost or a low boost or a high cut or a low cut going on this microphone. However, I do have the dynamite stick engaged, whereas with the ETHOS, it doesn't have any of the switches or anything, so this is just what the ETHOS sounds like. So I'm very curious to see, along with you guys, how these microphones sound compared to each other. So, yeah, these are how the microphones sound compared to one another. All right, and now we have the Audix PDX 720 versus the Earthworks ETHOS. Just like with the last one, I haven't heard what these microphones sound like put back to back, head to head like this, so I'll be finding out with you guys in the video. I really am curious to see how this sounds, because I remember back in my SM7B versus this Audix PDX 720 test, the Audix actually was a little bit darker than the Shure SM7B, which shocked me, and I just never expected that, because the SM7B is a very dark microphone. However, the ETHOS Earthworks also was a little bit darker or warmer sounding than the SM7B, so I'm really, really curious to see which microphone here is darker, or if they're about the same, or if one has a little bit more airiness to it. I'm really curious to see which microphone is, well, maybe they aren't darker. Maybe one sounds the same as the other. I don't know. We're going to find out. So anyway, this is how the PDX, or the Audix PDX 720 sounds versus the Earthworks ETHOS. All right, back to the video. Like in there's the video, like in here's not the video, but once we go in there, we're back to the video. I'm really tired. I don't know. Lifelike? Well, I mean, it seems to be really great about sibilance and really rejecting any harshness, or not really rejecting, but just not enhancing any type of harshness in the voice like a lot of other microphones do. It's super easy on the ears. This is only the second time, and possibly the last, where I say, you know, the SM7B was brighter than another microphone. The other mic being the, you know, PDX 720 from Audix. The ETHOS seems to capture the voice in a very natural way, or maybe a better way to put it is, do you ever notice someone's voice is really harsh or hard to listen to when speaking to them in person? In very rare cases, maybe. I mean, it definitely can happen. I've had it happen to me, but in the vast majority of cases, there's really no issue with the way someone sounds in person. Whereas in a lot of cases, hearing someone on a microphone, for example, enhances some of the harsh things that we don't really pick up on in person, like, say, sibilance and sounds such as sh, ch, t, f. Those types of sounds, you know, those sounds get enhanced and just really brutalize the ears. Well, the ETHOS seems to give you a really close representation of speaking to someone in person in this way, because it really seems to hide all of those harsh things that a ton of microphones enhance. Like I said, the SM7B is brighter and actually has those harsh sounds enhanced when put up against a mic like this, the ETHOS, which is insane, because I don't think the SM7B enhances those frequencies at all. I think it's a very flat response microphone. As a matter of fact, I know it is a very flat response microphone. It's just when put up against a darker sounding microphone, it's just human nature to be like, oh, that microphone really enhances those frequencies. And it's like, well, it doesn't. It sounds like it compared to this microphone, for example. All right. Now, with all of that said, is this mic for everyone? Of course not. We all like different things and have different opinions and believe different things. That's what makes the world go around, and that's what makes this place an interesting place to live.
You know, why would you want everyone to fall in line and only believe the way you think?
But that means there will likely be a lot of people out there that will say, just like they do with the SM7B, that microphone sounds muffled, that sounds, you know, too dark, it sounds muddy, or whatever the case may be. You know, the sound of the ETHOS might just not be your cup of tea. Personally, I do like how it sounds, because if you watch the channel, you know I lean towards darker or warmer sounding microphones. It's much easier to listen to over long periods of time. I just like that sound. I've grown to like it even more and more as I get older, and as my ears get more and more experienced, and as I train them up even more and more. But anyway, that's just my preference. You definitely have your own preference, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. All right, now, who is this microphone for? Well, as you probably guessed, this microphone without a doubt is made for content creators of all kinds, podcasting, YouTube, live streaming, you name it. It's definitely a killer in that realm for sure. However, is this microphone for voice actors? No, unfortunately not. If you'd like to find out why that is, you can watch a video I did all about the SM7B that I'll link at the end of this video and possibly in the description as well. Here's the thing. my opinion, which I don't speak on a lot, normally I just speak on the industry standards and leave it be, but in my opinion, microphones that are darker or warmer sounding like the SM7B, like this ETHOS, like other microphones, I think eventually they might be accepted in the voiceover industry, because in my opinion they should be, because they're easy on the ears, and in voiceover, guess what there's a lot of? Long dialogue. So, if you're reading a long book or if you're doing a longer commercial, you might want a microphone that doesn't fatigue the ever-loving crap out of the listener's ears. But this video, the one I did about the SM7B, it basically goes through all the reasons that, casting directors, agents, audio engineers, everybody, the industry, the voiceover industry doesn't like you using darker or warmer sounding microphones, even, just dynamic microphones in general. Gain used to be a big issue with that, but gain's not an issue really anymore when it comes to that. So that's knocked out. That was a big deal, and that's not a problem anymore. So here's the thing, guys. When it comes to the industry standards, you've probably realized this in so many different aspects of life, but when something is set as an industry standard, even when that's not an issue anymore, whatever set that as an industry standard, if there was an issue there, when that issue gets fixed, it still takes a really long time sometimes for the industry, for people, for whatever you want to say, to catch on to, oh, wait, the thing that made that an issue isn't an issue anymore, so we don't have to have this industry standard anymore. So I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't even know if they're going to just go, oh, yeah, that isn't a problem anymore. Maybe I'm wrong, and microphones like this will never be accepted in the industry. I personally think it will eventually get there, but it's going to take some time. That's just how these things work. I don't know why they have so many people working in this, I was going to say well-oiled machine, but I guess it's not really that well-oiled if they're missing all of these, cues like, oh, that's not an issue anymore. It can be accepted. Anyway, it's probably going to take a long time. Long story short, that's what I'm trying to say. But I'll also probably be redoing that SM7B video because of the updates and the things that have changed when it comes to microphones like that and the industry. So in the coming weeks, in the next month or two, I'll probably redo that video. Anyway, be on the lookout for that, because some of the things that I say in that older video don't hold true right now. But it's still just a really good video for you to understand kind of where the industry was coming from back then, and even now to an extent. All right, well, I really hope you've enjoyed this review. If you do find these reviews really helpful, please consider subscribing and just telling me in the comments below how much you hate me and how much you hate these reviews. Anyway, when it comes to the ETHOS from Earthworks, well, you know what they say.